You alleged too that Nicole Murphy had relations with your ex-husband. Were you two friends?
Mm-hmm. Birthday parties. I've been to her house. She was at my bachelorette party. But you know what? At that time, my mother told me then. She said, but you got to watch that one there. And I was like, who? I said, the one dancing. She said, yes, that's Eddie Murphy's wife. She said, you got to watch that one.
Current wife at the time or ex at the time?
I want to say, I think she was still married. They were still married. And I was like, no, And so, when your mom tell you something about new school, you feel like you old school, And she was right.
Nicole Murphy is finally telling her side, and it's definitely not looking good for LisaRaye McCoy. Lisa Raye stood 10 toes down and blamed Nicole for years for destroying her marriage and being a gold digger. But if what Nicole's saying is true, everything Lisa Raye got was karma for having an affair with multiple married men, one of which being Gary Payton, and anyone else, as long as the price was right. Allegedly. So with all the talk about Nicole Murphy being a homewrecker, it looks like Lisa Raye wasn't much better. She was just annoyed that it actually happened to her.
Nicole Murphy, you're disgusting. You sat on that couch and you laughed. It ain't no moment. It's a mess. You wrong for that. You the type of women that let these men be evil. They gotta have some help, and women like you are that type of help.
Okay, so this drama between Lisa Raye and Nicole Murphy has got to be one of the longest running beefs that we've ever seen in Hollywood. I mean, it's been going on for over a decade, and neither one of them is ready to forgive or forget. The beef between them first became public knowledge when Lisa Raye had something harsh to say after Nicole Murphy was exposed for making out with Antoine Fuqua, who is married to Lela Rochon. Nicole went on an apology tour and mentioned that it was a one-off thing and that it wasn't going to happen again, but Lisa Raye wasn't buying it at all. She said that she didn't believe Nicole because it wasn't the first time that she was caught red-handed with someone else's husband.
That's true, absolutely true.
So what happened exactly?
Just what you said. She messed around with my husband. Here's the thing, we've all done something that we regret, we've all made mistakes, and we all have to learn from that. But when you start doing it and being messy enough to do it amongst family, how does a family kiss turn into a I'm sorry apology? Like, what do you mean? You didn't know that she was married? We all know that she was married. And that was 20 years, that's history. You don't do that amongst friends.
Right.
Because there's no loyalty.
Right.
There's no loyalty, and you gotta look up, and your person that you invited to your house and you celebrating your birthdays and going to games with, you gotta look up and they're in Italy with your husband.
Right.
This was a mess because it was the first time that we saw another celeb really calling out Nicole Murphy for how she had been moving. Lisa Raye and Nicole were actually friends, and they moved within the same social circles. According to Lisa Raye, they had been such good friends that Nicole had even been invited to her wedding to former Prime Minister of Turks and Caicos, Michael McKissick. But what she didn't know was that Nicole was plotting to take her man the entire time.
Because my thing is this, when you're a woman and you grown, let's handle it like a woman. Let's talk face to face and let's get it out. But here's the thing. I sat with her a couple of months ago, longer than a couple of months ago, about 6 months ago. And
this was after the alleged affair?
Before.
Okay.
And I said, let's talk about it because I waited a very long time for you and I to get like this right here, face to face, you know?
Okay.
And
no, she's talking about Nicole, not me.
Right.
Right. Relax.
And we had a good conversation because she said to me, you know what? We're two older women that look good that's in the business. I hate this. And I do too, because I hate when we can't bridge the gap between women. You know, we should not be in that position.
Right.
I will say this.
And do y'all know what's worse? After Lisa Raye confronted her about it, Nicole didn't bother to deny it or apologize. Ever. Unlike how quick she was to respond to the backlash for getting Lela's husband, Nicole didn't acknowledge or deny anything. In fact, it seems like she really didn't care what Lisa Raye thought, and as of 2026, has never made an attempt to reconcile with her former friend. But from what Nicole has been saying, it looks like she has a pretty good reason as to why she never took any of Lisa Raye's comments about her seriously. You see, anytime Lisa Raye talks about Nicole, she paints her as this unrelenting side chick who targets married men. But one thing Lisa Raye always forgets to mention somehow is that she was also reportedly running around being someone else's side piece. We all know of Lisa Raye's marriage to Michael McKissick, but what people rarely talk about is how she was married to former NFL player Tony Martin from 1992 to 1994, and in just 2 years reportedly cheated on him with Ray Lewis, Tony's friend and fellow NFL player. I mean, it went on for so long that when Tony finally found out about it, he reportedly cried his eyes out because he couldn't believe what his wife and his friend were doing behind his back. Baby, this situation was so nasty, but what was even more savage was how Lisa Raye continued to move afterwards. Now, Lisa Raye is and always has been stunning, and we're pretty sure that she had men lining up around several blocks wanting an opportunity to date her. However, Lisa Raye's career peaked in the early 2000s with her most famous role being Diamond from the 1998 movie Players Club. So with the roles not coming in like they used to and money drying up, insiders say that Lisa Raye was more concerned about finding men that were willing to fund her lifestyle. According to sources, she would openly ask her friends to hook her up with tricks who would spoil her, and that is how she met and went out with former basketball player Allen Iverson while he was still married, and even dated Al Sharpton because of the connections and the doors that he could open for her. She was also seeing Genuine for a minute, but the affair fizzled out quickly. I mean, even Bobby Brown claimed to have been intimate with her when he was already in a relationship with Whitney Houston. Lisa Raye really came out here collecting men like Pokemon. However, out of everyone that Lisa Raye had something with, her relationship with Gary Payton was really something that stood out above the rest. The two of them have never really claimed each other since Gary was married around the time that he and Lisa Raye started messing around. But with the drama that came out with the affair, everyone soon heard just how messy it was. Gary reportedly went all out for her, paid all her bills, and even spoiled her with a white Range Rover. Gary was completely invested in her, and his focus made Lisa Raye bold enough to actually go to Gary's wife Monique and tell her about it. When Lisa Raye noticed that Monique wasn't willing to leave Gary because of their affair, things really went downhill from there. The two of them just couldn't be in the same room without going off on each other. And when Monique and Lisa Raye just so happened to be at a basketball game at the same time, Monique reportedly got so mad that she beat the taste out of Lisa Raye's mouth, and it took a team to put some distance between the two of them. When Gary and Monique decided to get a divorce, rumors were going around that his affair with Lisa Raye and how open they were about it played a huge part in the demise of his marriage. But while Gary was putting his marriage on the line for Lisa Raye, she had already started seeing Michael McKissick and got engaged to him without Gary knowing. And he got to find out with the rest of the world and was livid that Lisa Raye would play him like that. However, according to Nicole, Lisa Raye has been messy from the start and wasn't above sleeping with someone as long as she got something in return. And it was always about which man had the most money. And even now, Lisa Raye has admitted that she is only interested in dating rich men who can pay her bill without breaking the bank.
I don't want to stress you out by trying to keep up with my lifestyle that I already have and am accustomed to. Why? Because if I'm going to these restaurants just for lunch meetings and it takes you your whole check to take me there, I don't want to stress you out. You cannot hang with me.
But the thing is, that has always been her game and the method she used to maintain her lifestyle. So it's one thing for Lisa Raye to sit on her high horse and call out Nicole Murphy, but it is a whole other ballgame to expect an apology when she has done the same thing to other women more times than anyone can count. And everything Lisa Raye has said about Nicole and acted like she was above it all, is hard to believe that she was the same person doing all of this without batting an eye. Lisa Raye really believes she's still Diamond from Players Club. The lengths she will go to get a man to take care of her and all her bills is wild, from Al Sharpton to the Holy Ghost. Dang, she's been passed around. She should have just dated Diddy and got a nice check out of the deal. But what I want to know is, what do you think about all of this? Do you really think that Lisa Raye is out here hating the player but not hating the game? Sound off in the comments and make sure you hit that like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, baddies.